I'm not hearing anything. All right, here we are. Well, are we live? We're on. We're up. We're good. Huh? What? Who? Huh? All right. Welcome to the Paying Attention program. I'm Tom Duggan. I'm going to be doing this little show here today with Fred and Meredith. We got a bunch of people. Ira Kelt is going to be doing a. We're going to be. I don't know why it's doing that. Well, hold on. So here's what we're going to do. We got Fred and Meredith are going to do news. We've got Ira's got a great report on the flu. There's a big flu going around. Did a lot of research on it. Thought it would be pretty educational. We've got a couple of guests coming to talk about the marijuana situation in North Andover. Why don't we start with news? Fred and Meredith, why don't you tell us what's gone on in the last week since last we met?
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So we begin our headlines today with news that Lawrence, Mass. has received an official warning from the Trump administration regarding its status as a so-called sanctuary city.
Good.
I bet you're shocked by this,
No,
right?
I'm not shocked at all.
Not at all. So the warning came in the form of a letter, and it was sent by the U.S. Department of Justice this week to officials in 23 cities across the country, including Chicago, New York City, L.A., and Lawrence. The letter challenges the leaders of those cities to prove that they are cooperating with federal authorities enforcing immigration law. Now, if cities refuse to offer them the proof that they're cooperating, the Department of Justice has threatened to use its subpoena power to get access to documents showing whether those cities are cooperating or not. And the Trump administration has also threatened to withhold federal grant money from uncooperative communities.
Good. Every single dime.
Every dime.
That the federal government sends to Lawrence should be stopped immediately.
Well, it might be. You never know.
Good.
You never know.
That's exactly what it's going to take for the traitors in Lawrence to put American citizens ahead of non-American citizens.
So now, reportedly, Lawrence Mayor Dan Rivera has taken issue with the letter, claiming that his city has in fact helped federal authorities apprehend criminals living in the country illegally on at least 9 recent occasions.
And that's probably true. Irrelevant, but true.
You think it's true?
Yeah, no, I think it probably is true. But it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because when you're out there promoting that you're a sanctuary city, you become a magnet for criminals and gang members and drug dealers. So you can cooperate on 9 cases. There were 9 cases like last week. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably true, but totally irrelevant.
So what happens now if there's a new police chief in Lawrence? How does that go?
Well, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I know Acting Chief Vask, Interim Chief Vask. He's a no-nonsense guy.
Yeah.
And he's a lot tougher than the last chief. I like the last chief, but he's a lot tougher. And if he sticks around, I think he's going to work out well. This whole sanctuary city thing, though, just blows my mind. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it during my rant today. But I interviewed Dan Rivera a year ago, and we interviewed him live. We asked him about the sanctuary city. He was actually at the May Day rally in May. Promoting illegal aliens. They were basically rallying for illegal aliens, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I went over and I asked him, about Lawrence being a sanctuary city, and his answer was, we're not a sanctuary city, we're a Trust Act city. And then spent 5 minutes explaining what the difference was, which it's not really that different. It is a little different.
A little different.
But then I start reading through court documents. And in the court documents, he says Lawrence is a sanctuary city.
How about that?
So listen, I'm not a lawyer, and I shouldn't have to use LexisNexis to try and figure out what the hell Lawrence really is.
Right.
You've got the leader of our city saying that to me, and we wrote a big story, Lawrence is not a sanctuary city, and then he's telling the court that we are a sanctuary city. Who's Donald Trump going to believe? Right? You believe what he put in court, withdraw every single dime that the city of Lawrence gets from the federal government.
Right.
It sounds like now we're really going to find out.
It's amazing to me that you have people who are elected by Americans, supposedly, American citizens. They're supposed to represent American citizens.
Yep.
And yet they spend all of their time putting American citizens aside and advocating for citizens of other countries.
Right.
And look, I'm for legal immigration. Anybody that wants to come here legally, fine. But we have tons of black people in this country that have no jobs, that get terrible educations, and they're getting no help at all from the federal government. They don't have anybody marching in the streets to help them. You get all these murders in Chicago, and yet all the Democrat leaders seem to care about are citizens of other countries who are taking the jobs that these black people. All we hear about is how blacks are at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, they're at the bottom of education. They're at the bottom of jobs, the economic situation. Well, of course it's going to be that way if you keep importing more people that will work for half the money.
Right.
Yeah, that's just me. Sorry.
So Haverhill Police announced some good news this week. In cooperation with U.S. Marshals and members of the Mass and Maine State Police, they made multiple arrests related to a home invasion that occurred in the city on Webster Street on January 16th. Police allege that 3 suspects entered Haverhill home and pistol whipped and robbed the occupant. One suspect, a woman, was arrested in Haverhill. 2 male suspects were apprehended in Maine. Haverhill Detective Lieutenant Robert Pistone told the Valley Patriot, "The Haverhill police did an excellent job of investigating this serious crime and developing probable cause in order to obtain arrest warrants so that these dangerous individuals could be apprehended so quickly. We're very fortunate to have the dedication of the Mass State Police and other law enforcement partners in the U.S. Marshals and Maine State Police." So, good job, HPD.
Yeah, they do a good job at Haverhill.
They
We
do.
had the Haverhill chief here on our first show, and I was a little surprised at how candid he was about the violence and the gangs in Haverhill.
He's excellent.
Yeah, he really
Glad
is.
to have him in charge there.
Yeah.
Makes me feel safer.
Very candid.
Yeah, and he's got such a different personality than a guy like Chief Solomon, and yet Chief Solomon is an amazing chief in his town. So
Right.
And you look at a guy like Chuck Gray, who's got a totally different personality
Right.
than both of them, but it works for North Andover.
Yeah,
He's
different
great.
communities
Yeah.
require different.
Yep. Well, Tom, now we're going to turn our attention down to Washington, D.C., where federal workers are back on the job following a brief but highly publicized shutdown of the federal government this past
The
week.
Schumer shutdown.
The Schumer shutdown.
I like that.
So on Monday, Republicans and Democrats agreed to reopen the government and fund operations for another 3 weeks by passing a stopgap spending bill. As part of that agreement, Congress voted to fund a popular children's health program, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell promised Democrats he would look into new ways to protect so-called dreamers from deportation, and that's after President Trump canceled the DACA program last year. Now, a total of 81 senators voted in favor of ending the government shutdown, but 18 senators, including both U.S. senators from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, voted no.
Yeah. They voted no.
They voted no. Now, it remains unclear whether Republicans and Democrats will be able to make any progress and come to agreement on major issues like immigration between now and the expiration of the temporary funding resolution, or if another stalemate is looming just over the horizon.
Well, you know, look, I get that there are people who are brought here supposedly against their will.
Yep.
I'm just going to buy that for a minute. They're not citizens of this country, but they're not citizens of this country not from their own fault.
Right.
I have no problem if we get a wall with a moat and piranhas and alligators and sniper like Escape from New York, right? With the snipers up on the wall, we get electric fences that go down into the ground so they can't tunnel. If we have security on our border, I have no problem with people who are dreamers, whatever we want to call them, staying in the country as long as they're not beating their wives, drunk driving, selling drugs. I have no problem with that. I kind of have a problem with making them citizens, but from what he's kind of floating, he's floating this idea that if they stay for 15 years and they don't get in trouble, maybe they could get a path to citizenship.
Yep.
Not sure I like that, but I'd be willing to accept it if we were deporting the people that were committing crimes, if we had security on the border, if people that overstayed their visas were thrown the hell back out.
Right.
I'd be okay with it. But it's a compromise, and you hear the news, especially on CNN, which just infuriates me every day. They make everything an either or.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he said this during the campaign, and now it's different. Well, yeah, because now he's governing. Back then he wasn't governing.
Right.
And in order to get certain things that we need, he's willing to compromise. That shows he's not the closed-minded bastard that everyone makes him out to be.
Right. Yeah, good point.
Anyways, it's my take.
There you go.
So closer to home, Mass Governor Charlie Baker gave his annual State of the Commonwealth address in the House chamber Tuesday night. The governor.
No one would know that, by the way, if you didn't tell them.
Oh, I know.
Because I didn't know. I didn't know it till just now. So.
There you go.
The governor, who's up for re-election this year, sounded a staunchly bipartisan tone, surprise, surprise, and gave an optimistic outlook for the state, which he says has an economy that is hitting on all cylinders. He said, quote, "We live in a great state filled with creative, community-minded, hardworking, decent people. And what they want from us is opportunity, possibility, and hope. Not noise, not name-calling, not finger-pointing."
Right.
Looking ahead to the rest of this year, Baker identified education, transportation, and continuing to fight the state's opioid epidemic.
Did he say anything of any substance? Because, everyone loves education and public safety. And
Right.
it's like talking without saying anything. Like, did he say anything of, did he say
think
anything we can use?
I think he's trying to go right down the middle because he doesn't want to attract an opponent on the Republican side going into the convention.
He's gonna have a Republican opponent.
We'll see.
He
had one last time.
Yeah,
so.
Look, the right wing of the Republican Party in Massachusetts loves to circle the wagons and shoot in.
Right.
And they hate the fact that there's any Republican that doesn't check every single one of their boxes
absolutely.
that's elected. So I go on Facebook every day and I see these guys. And look, I'm a right-wing Tea Party guy too.
Right.
But you see these guys, he's a rhino. He's a rhino. Well,
Right.
yeah, but
He's better than the
we're in
alternative.
friggin' Massachusetts.
Right.
Would you prefer Governor Coakley?
Right.
And the answer is yes, by the way. No, I'm serious. If you ask these Tea Party people who are far right on the social issues, they'd rather have Martha Coakley.
To have someone to rail
right,
against.
then they can rail against her, and they can play victims and look how, look at what's going on. It's a little maddening because we cut our nose off to spite our face.
Right.
Having a guy like Charlie Baker there, even if he does nothing for 4 or 8 years, is better than what Martha Coakley would be doing in her first year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways.
Tom, those are your headlines.
That's it.
That's it.
I ruined your whole day just for that?
No, it's not a ruin.
I know. I heard today that John Kerry floated that he might run in 2020.
Oh, God help us all. God help us all.
You don't like that?
Jesus. He's like,
enough is enough, right?
Please, just go away. We'll get that song
on
that Sully
vacation in Nantucket or the windsurfing or whatever, but
yeah, just go away. What's that Godsmack song? Just go away. Yep. Please, just go. Oh my God, he's gonna be windsurfing in the Boston Harbor.
Could happen.
Who needs that?
Could happen.
All right. Well, look, that was great. That was great news. I appreciate that. Promote your business.
Go ahead.
Tell people who you are and why we have you here.
Well, we are the co-founding partners of Lyric Consulting, which is a political and business marketing firm. And we also have our own real estate brokerage, Lyric Properties, servicing the Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts. And I'm also an attorney by trade.
Excellent. And they're also my booking agents. So
Absolutely.
if you want me to speak at your school, if you want me to speak to your group, a police group, police departments, whatever.
Don't call him, call us.
Yeah, please don't call me. You're never going to reach me anyway.
No.
Call them and
we know where to find them.
And they'll take care of you. And they'll take their $4 million off the top.
Something like that.
It's something that's what we negotiated
Small
anyway.
cut. Yeah.
All right, we're going to come back. We're changing the format of the show around a little bit. We're going to have Ira come up last. He's going to do his flu thing. Next, we're going to have Jimmy Zanakis and Mike, right? Mike? Tom. It's one of those hard ethnic names. Jimmy Zanakis and Tom are going to come up, and they're going to talk about the marijuana situation in North Andover town meetings this coming week. Here on Paying Attention.